Hey everybody, it's your Uncle Bear. Happy Wednesday to you. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about a topic I heard Gord McGill talking on his podcast the other day about. And that is, by the way, it's the name of that podcast is The Voice of Gord, Gord. Really interesting guy, really interesting podcast. And he's very knowledgeable on trucking. He comes from a trucking family. But anyway, driver retention, which is arguably the main cause of the fallacy of a driver shortage, because there's almost twice as many Class A CDLs issued in this country as there are Class A CDLs being used in this country, which indicates that people are going out and getting their CDLs, and when they find out this isn't for them, then they leave the industry, which is understandable sometimes. I mean, a couple years ago, I met a guy that he had been a psychologist. He decided he wanted to come out here and, travel the country and see the sights and get paid for it. I'm sure I haven't talked to him since, but I'm sure he probably found out that you don't get to really see that many sights. You don't have time, and it costs money for that truck to sit. Even if it's your own truck, I'm an independent owner operator, and I have tires to pay for, and I've got a truck payment to pay for, and a stack of taxes that'll make your Aunt Connie's socks fall off. But you got to keep the truck moving. There's not a whole lot of time. I mean, there's good paying freight out there. Sometimes you can take a little time off, but it's not very often. But anyway, so and Gord brought up the point, that nobody tells anybody what they're in for. So I'm gonna tell you what you're in for. This is more of a lifestyle than it is a career. It's you have to be okay with being scared shitless half the time, and you also have to be able to stay calm while you're scared shitless, and think fast under pressure. You have to be okay with being alone for long periods. If you're an over-the-road driver, you're going to be gone. I don't know, some of them, I guess, are home every 3 days or so, but some of them are gone 2-3 months at a time. And you got to be okay with being alone out there, and your significant other has to be okay with being alone while you're out there. You have to be willing to learn. It's a constant learning experience. Whether you're a dispatcher, a mechanic, or a driver, things are always evolving in trucking. The equipment's different, there's different safety features, there's different types of tires, there's different driving techniques, that come out. And, I've been doing it for 36 years, and I still learn stuff from guys. So, I mean, you always have to keep an open mind. Don't be too set. There's some things where I'm kind of set in my ways, but there's some things that I got to kind of step back and go, yeah, you need to keep an open mind, because times they are a changin', as Bob Dylan would say. So, there's certain aspects of it. You have to have patience, because a lot of these places that you pick up and deliver to, they don't give two shits how long you sit there. They really don't. Yeah, and that's a video for another time, but it shouldn't be, but it's true. They could give two shits how long you sit there. And if they, they'll order a truck. Some of them, I've seen them order a truck 2 days before the load is ready. So you get there, and once you check in, they tell you, oh, it should be ready any time now. So there you sit, and you wait, and you wait, and you wait. And God help you if you have to wait your air conditioners on the fritz. That happened to me this summer. 100 degrees, 109 degrees out. And yeah, it was a good time. But once I got checked in, I couldn't leave the Shepherd. So there's, like I say, if you're willing to learn, and like I say, it can be damn scary. If you go to work for a company, you make sure that you demand that your trainer have a bare minimum of 10 years over the road experience. And the reason I say it like that is it's not going to give you, if you're planning on being an over-the-road truck driver, it's not going to do you a damn bit of good to have Harvey, that's been driving local in Phoenix for 10 years, you know, and no over-the-road experience whatsoever. All he's going to be able to teach you how to do is shift, back up, and go forward. That's it. He doesn't know how to go across a mountain pass covered with ice any better than you do. So, no. Demand somebody with at least 10 years experience over the road that knows what they're doing. And they're not going to teach you everything. Most of what you'll learn on your own, but they'll be able to give you the basics to survive until you do learn those things. And don't be afraid to ask the old timers for advice. You know, everybody needs to get a CB in their truck again and turn it on. Communication amongst ourselves is one of our greatest tools. It really is, and it makes it so much more tolerable out here. You know, I remember back in the 90s, I was running Minneapolis and Chicago back and forth, and we would have comedy hour. Shit, for 2-3 hours, you know, you'd get on there and tell a joke, and the next guy would tell a joke, and you'd pray to God that he'd stay in range for you to hear the punchline. But yeah, that would, you know, the guy's going east and the guy's going west. They just take turns going back and forth, and it was great. It was great. And what a lot of people don't realize, that people in the offices, you know, that hear the jokes around the water cooler up in the office, what they don't realize is that a lot back then, the truck drivers were the ones coming up with the jokes, and they would tell them to your guy down on the shipping and receiving docks, and then they would work their way up to the office, and that's how you heard them in the office. But because we got some really funny guys driving trucks, we always have, because all we have is time to think. You know, we're sitting alone in a truck. You know, you're going to be about half cracked in the head. So anyway, but yeah, know what you're getting into. Ask people, and like I say, if you decide that trucking is what you want to get into for a lifestyle, then I think you should. You know, the wages are pretty decent now. They could probably be a little bit better, because over the years, the wages haven't kept up with the cost of living on the road, or the taxes that we pay. And it's, you know, like I say, it pays a hell of a lot better than it used to. But like I say, for the meals on the road, and most of us have a microwave and a fridge in the truck these days. We didn't used to have that. We had the truck stop cafes and convenience stores. So anyway, that's all I got today, kids. If you have any comments, I'd love to hear them. And be sure to subscribe it, like it, and share it with all your friends for me, all right? Take care. Be safe.